However, you never see these same people who like labeling this on Baba, like talk about their leaders who also had gangs, who were paying gangs and doing this. They will not say the same thing. Another thing that also was also a narrative was that one for Kibra. This guy has been MP for this area for so long, but these guys are still poor. But these same people will never say the same thing about Othaya. When Othaya also had a lot of poverty, despite Kibaki being a member of parliament even way, way longer.
No human being is perfect.
Correct.
And we definitely know that Raila was not perfect.
Correct.
And he did have his, faults.
Yes.
So I think he's coming through his own form of understanding and knowledge of what he knows, okay? So the best thing is, yes, not say, okay, we're not going to have that kind of a show tonight, but, to be open to say that I hear you, and those are your sentiments, and, we can move on.
This is the One Mic Show.
No human being is perfect.
Correct.
And we definitely know that Raila was not perfect.
Correct.
And he did have his, faults.
Yes.
So I think he's coming through his own form of understanding and knowledge of what he knows, okay? So the best thing is, yes, not say, okay, we're not going to have that kind of a show tonight, but, to be open to say that I hear you, and those are your sentiments, and, we can move on, because I think that's the most important thing. But to come to also talking about Baba, as I was listening to, as an artist, I think about how Baba loved art.
Yes.
And, and how he actually changed the course of our musical, creativity, especially the people in Kenya, and they were talking about this in another show, and you think about the songs that, he revived just by him being Baba, you understand? And so when I think about his impact, it goes further than politics. I think his impact is also in the cultural aspect of us as Kenyans, celebrating who we are, celebrating our culture, celebrating our ethnicities, because, today he would love Nobody Can Stop Reggae. Tomorrow he would love, I Am Unbogable. The next day he would love, I don't know. So that unification, he brought us together. Yes, for many, maybe through politics, but I think it was the culture, it was the charisma, it was the humor, it was the fact that, he was so resilient, because everybody talks about mtu akiibiwa eninio, umeibiwa kura kama mara ine, and you still come back. I mean, there's something to say about a person like that. I mean, for me, umeniibia mara mbili, forget it. But ameibiwa mara ine, na bado amekuja akashake hand, not only with Ruto, but also with Uhuru. You understand? So I think Baba, that's what I'm saying. I wish there was another book that explained the reason
his reasons behind what he did.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, because seriously, that need to be analyzed, and perhaps people will be interviewed, those who are close to him, to give us the reason of why he did that, because I'm telling you, when during the campaigns, those days when I was Baba Dam, at some point my Baba Dam will fifia. But you hear all kinds of stories, you hear
Correct.
the negatives, you hear, oh, Baba, you did not use, he didn't invest in his campaigns, and if he had invested in his campaign as much as the other people, then he definitely, Baba will be there. Then you hear the story that, oh, these elections are always decided in the UK. So even by the time ata Baba najua tiyo kitu atakosa. Yani, oh, mara you hear, oh, other thing, Baba was cast by his father. He will never be the president. Yani, there are stories and stories and stories to tell. But at the same time, don't look more on the stories, look at the man and the legacy. You understand? Look at the things that he has done to save Kenya from going into deeper violence. You understand? And yet people can say, yeye ndo alileta hizi vita, but yeye pia ndo alistopisha hizi vita. So at the same time, it's I mean, I remember even Kivuitu. Do you remember Kivuitu?
Yes.
When he was being asked who won the election,
He didn't know. Yeah, he said he didn't know. Yeah.
And then that's what I remember. Even though I'm not a guru in politics. I remember wakiapisha na Kibaki usiku. Hata my grandmother was alive. Akakuja akasema, niliona mzee rais akiapishwa usiku. What kind of nonsense is that? If you want fair and square, Let us go to the stadium daylight. So you can't say all these things negative about Baba without looking at the other side. That's what I'm saying. So we have to really be open.
You know, Anna, the interesting thing is that the judgments that people used to make on Baba, like for example, like 2007 violence. That's one of the narratives that he's the sole reason why there was violence in 2007. Yet you had, you know, like the theater of violence one was in Rift Valley, and you had another one coming from also, you know, like from Mungiki, also within within Rift Valley. However, you never see these same people who like labeling this on Baba, you know, like talk about their leaders who also had gangs, who were paying gangs and doing this. They will not say the same thing. Another thing that also was also a narrative was that one for Kibra. This guy has been MP for this area for so long, but these guys are still poor. But these same people will never say the same thing about Othaya. When Othaya also had a lot of poverty, despite Kibaki being a member of parliament even way longer than Baba was. So there was a very unfair way of, or even Gatundu, there was a very unfair way of a pedestal of judging him, which you would not use that same standard to judge your heroes. So and that's why death is an equalizer in the fact that people are able to see things soberly, in proper perspective, beyond a lot of those narratives that were being spread. I can see a couple of people, more people are coming in on YouTube, Pan-African Kenyan, and Sema, my understanding is that even though Raila was not part of the military plans of the coup, he had been slotted as one possible members of the transitional council that was to take over after the coup. One day we're going to do an episode about this. We're going to get an expert, a historian. Yes, a proper historian whereby we can dissect these things beyond nilisikia, niliambiwa. People are saying, forget about those. You know, like we live in an age where there's tools that can help you verify vitu ambazo ulisikia, ama uliambiwa, ama ulisimuliwa. So, yeah, and then I can see Julia Nyaundi. Julia Nyaundi, karibu sana. Julia Nyaundi says, as long as I can remember, I have always appreciated Baba's very important role in putting pressure on any sitting government to do right by the people of Kenya. Thank you so much, Julie. King Anthony Grounds, anamwambia Pan-African, the coup which Moi created himself with Charles Njonjo, then they blamed it on Ochuka. Yeah, we'll get an expert because that clearly is one of those topics where a lot of misinformation has gone round. But this information is there. Squeeze hakuna kuficha information. And then Pan-African anasema, I heard that transitional council narrative from Odhiambo Otieno on Jagero's channel here on YouTube. Yeah, so whoever said it, all these things, you know, like it's important to have them verified. And then coming back to Facebook, you know, I can see a couple of people are tuned in here. Doreen Florence saying, thank you, Ali. Thank you, Mika. And I guess that's in as far as running of the episode tonight when we're having that conversation. Ras Vic, Anasema Raila made fundamentals to be popular, the song.